Hey guys, very good morning to all of you. Welcome to the video number 379 and my name is Ajay. In this video today we are going to talk about that how you can actually track the login whenever somebody opens the workbook, and if you want to keep a track how many times, and whenever this the workbook, the file which is on the share drive, is opened by your users. Right now I'm going to upload this video. Obviously we have actually a question which I received 1 week ago from one of my subscribers, Mehboob, and this is what he actually had to say. Hi, sir, thank you very much for the amazing videos. As usual, I keep on writing to you a lot, and thanks a lot for responding back with solution. Thank you so much, Mehboob, believing in the channel, and keep posting your comments. Your questions are always fabulous, no doubt about that. Thank you so much. I'm facing some issues with the coding and thought of sharing it with you. For example, I have 5 members in my team and they log in at different time every morning. I have saved a file on the share drive and I want their system login time to be captured automatically every day. So we want to capture their login time whenever they are whenever they are opening the Excel file, guys. We want to see that when actually they open the file, and maybe you can also modify the code and you can also check that how many times basically they are opening the file. Right, I'll just show you in a moment. I tried to write the code and placed it on the opening event of the workbook. He's talking about the workbook open event using now function. Now returns always the the current time as per your whatever the time you have in your machine, but every time the file opens, the time captured earlier for the previous users also get refreshed. Could you please help me with this, and so that it captures the exact login time? Basically the problem is that, Alam, if you're using the now function, first of all let me tell this to everybody. If you do not know, now function, it's a very low common function. If you're a basic Excel user, you should know that this returns the current time as per your machine. Of course it tells you about the date as well. Now the point is, every time when you open the workbook and you want to check for the other users, this time if you're getting if you're getting stored somewhere, this keeps on refreshing because this is a formula. So what you need to do is you need to make a plan. First, why don't you do one thing? Get this file opened and immediately run the macro. User doesn't have to click on the macro. Make your macro password protected so that user does not even know that there is a password, there is a programming going on, and capture that time and save it in some another file. Right, and at the same time, why don't you also, because if you're going to capture the details in some file, and if that file is on the share drive, somebody may open that file and can change the things over there. I'm just assuming. I'm not saying that this will happen. I mean, generally in your office environment nobody does that things, right? But still, as a programmer, you would like to keep all the things in your mind, and you would like to make a code which nobody can actually change, which nobody can modify, and which can give you the 100% they can give you back the result, the 100% perfect result, right? So if you want to do that, I think you can also email the copy of that in the code itself. I'm not saying that you should do it anything manually. All right, so guys, we're going to talk about this today in this video. And for those who are watching the channel for the first time, as you know, this is the video number 300 and I guess it was 379. So we have all these videos, 370 videos on Excel VBA Access and Access VB. You can click on the playlist and you will find here all these tutorials one by one. Right, you can see that any video which states Excel VBA, it means that's Excel VBA. Any video which only says Excel, then it is the Excel video. And of course you will find the subject as well. For example, this playlist has 3 videos on offset function. If you find Access, it's a normal front-end Excel. If you find anywhere Access VBA, as you can see here, that means it's pure Access VBA. 4 different subjects we are covering in this, right? So now you should understand the Excel VBA event, because we're going to write this VBA event. If you don't have any idea about the Excel VBA events, what you need to do is first you watch video number 264, though I will try to explain in this video as well. Right now, first of all, we will build the formula, then I'll come back to the event part. Let's go to the Visual Basic. So guys, my idea is that whenever the user will open this file, the macro should trigger. So we will go in this workbook and we're going to select the workbook from here, and automatically you will see that there is an event which is created. I haven't written this macro, right? I'm telling you this considering that if you just do not know about the events, right? So these are all the events. Events means that they are the self-triggered macros basically, right? When you write something here, like for example, if you write something here, sheet before delete, and whatever you write in that event, that means anytime when somebody is going to delete the sheet, that macro will fire. They don't wait for your buttons. Now in this particular case also, we're going to write everything in the workbook underscore open, which is an event, and this you will find always in this workbook. It's not going to be in the module, right? Because in the module, whatever you write basically gets attached with the buttons. You can control that, but here you don't have a control, because here you are giving the condition, you are specifying that any point in time if the workbook gets opened, my macro should run. And what you want to do that we're going to learn here. So I'm going to capture the username, the machine name. So to do that, you can write here some variable, let's say my username as a string, and then you define here my username, which is going to be like this. My username equals to, there is a function called environ, which I've used in fact in many videos, right? This returns the username. Okay, this is what I need, right? So if you have a username, let's say test, and if you're gonna run this code, automatically my username variable will capture that username for you, so you don't have to be really worried about it. Okay, this is gonna capture it automatically. So we're gonna have the username, and what is the next thing I want to do? I also want to capture maybe the time also. You can capture, right? You can capture the time, you can capture the date. So whatever you want to do, you can do that. So we're going to write, for example, my date. I'm going to declare here, and I declare that my date as string, and then you will write here my date equals to format. Format is a VBA function, guys, and this is what you write, date. If you use Excel, then in Excel, if you want to insert the today date, we have a formula called today, but in VBA it is actually a date function, right? So I would like to format it. I would like to format it in this format, MMM and DD and then YYY. So I want to see that instead of 03, because we are in the March month, so for the March it should give me MAR, right? That's what I need to do. Okay, what is the next thing I want to do? Well, I can also capture the time. So we can capture here time, for example my time as you can declare it as a date, and you can write here my time equals to now. Okay, this is going to give you the time, the date. I don't need the date, so what I can do, I can simply go ahead and I can write here the format. Please format this in the HH and MM format. Yes, right? So when you run this, let's run this quickly. So you look at this, your username is Acer. Now that's my actually Acer laptop, right? That's what I see as my username. And then what is the next thing? I see my date here as March 29, 2017, and you see that basically the date function returns only this 03-29 2017, but we are actually converting it using the format function, and that's why writing here triple M gonna give you MAR, right? Your choice. I mean, you can also write double M as well, not a problem. So this is now my date. We're going to capture this. Now you know that today is 29th when I'm recording the video, and we have a time right now is 11:36 morning, right? So I just need the time portion. So if I just run this is what you will see, 11:37:05. Cool. Now once you have all these details, what you would like to do? Well, then you can create Excel workbook. Maybe I just create here. Let me press Control N. Control N is the shortcut key to insert the new workbook, and let us save this file somewhere. Maybe I'm going to save it on my desktop, right? So I'm going to save it my desktop, and I will name this as logger details or log details, maybe log, that's fine. Okay, so what we will do is we will get this file opened. Okay, once you have captured all the details, we're going to open that file. So we're going to write my workbooks open, and you will write the path. So go to the path, click on the right click on the file and go to its property, and you can write there, but I'm just going to write here manually, but you can copy the path from the file as well. So it's desktop, and after the desktop I have my log.xlsx. It is a simple file which has no macro, right? So that's what we actually would like to do. Once the file is activated, what I want to do is now in this file we're gonna have one more thing. Why don't let me just open the file first of all. So the log file is opened, so let's do one thing, guys. Let's keep here the username, and then here let's keep the date and the time, and let's get some width. So this template will remain as it is, right? And I just close this, so you can put this on your shared drive or from wherever you want to access it. Should have the right. That's all what I want to say. Once the file is opened, we're going to actually be on the sheet 1. So I'm going to simply write here the sheet 1.select. Okay. Once the workbook is opened, so we should write here active workbook, because that will be your active work dot sheets, right? And then from the range A1, we're going to actually use this command end Excel up and go to the blank cell. So just below your header, which is a blank cell, you're gonna have a value. Okay, first we will select the cell. Once we have the cell selection done, then we're gonna write here active cell dot offset, or maybe first of all we just print the value on the data active cell, which would be the A2 cell. We're going to have here my username. Okay, and then I just copy this. Let me just copy this line and paste it 3 times. There we go. And of course from that active cell you want to go to the next cell, right, which is to the next column. So on the same row 01, you want a new value which has to be what, which has to be my date, so that we can see the date there. And similarly this has to be my time, and this is what I want to do here. I just use here offset and I say that 0 and :2 dot value. That is what actually I'm trying to do here, right? So what do you need? The next thing is obviously you would like to save the file. So I'm going to write here active workbook dot save, or maybe you can just close it and you can write here save changes. Yes, I want to save the changes so that you shouldn't be seeing any prompt, right? And once it is done, then first of all let us run this, guys, right? I don't want to make you feel bored. Let us run the code first of all so that we can see also what is happening. So there we go. I'm going to run the code and all the things are done. You see here in the background the file is open. Let me just some space here. Alright, so now from this code it should go to the A2. Now I'm already on the A2, by the way. Just in case if your cursor is also here, this line ensures that from the A1 it should go to the Excel up. And by the way, guys, from the A1 you can never use actually control up arrow. This is the code for the control up arrow, because you are already on the top. So my mistake, I should have written here A100 or A1000, whatever, making sure that when you make this program, you should be knowing that possibly how many rows can be filled in this the log.xlsx file. Because if you think that your users are going to open it a lot and maybe it can fill up 1000 records in a day, then I think you should use here lakh, right? So you can use that. So in that way, you can just increase this, so you can use here 10 lakh as well, right? And or whatever, whatever you want to use. You want to use the 1 million, 2 million, whatever you want to use, you can use that, right? Because in Excel the last actually the row is 1048576. So that's what I'm actually using here. Now the moment I run this line, see what will happen. Let me just run this line. So I press F8 and there we go. We are on the last the blank cell. So here we're going to have all the values. So the active cell becomes A2 and I'm going to have my A cell username here. From this active cell, move one cell to the right side, you have the date and then you have the time. And then we would like to close this file. You see that the file is getting closed. The user won't be able to see all that. Right? We'll bring the speed to this. I'll tell you the code about that. But now what I was telling you, that just in case if they know that the where the file is going, somebody can open the file, obviously. They can edit their date and the time, whatever they want to do. If you want to keep this data for the audit purpose, then I think you should definitely protect this file. Or maybe the better way would be, why don't you just have the copy of this email of this file using the Outlook email. So let us go ahead and let us write the program here, send email. Okay, I'm going to use the send email word, and then I go to the module, because you should write the code here. These are the standard codes. Don't write that code in this workbook, because in this workbook you can only write the events, predefined conditions, right? So here we're going to write that send email, and I'm going to actually create here, the reference. Go to the reference, because we want to connect to the Outlook, so you use the Outlook library. So find out where we have the Outlook library. And if you are new to the channel, guys, we have got 30 amazing videos on how to connect the Outlook with the Excel. Of course, every video talks about something different situation. So what you need to do is you go to the playlist called Excel VBA connecting Outlook with Excel, and you will find there all those 30 different titles of the videos, right? So this is how we connect. I have connected. If I just go back and click on the tool reference, you would see here Microsoft Outlook 16.0, because I'm using Outlook 2016. You're using some different version, you will have the different number, but ultimately the point is you got to have the Outlook library. So we're going to write here O as Outlook application. I'll define this Outlook application, and then I'm going to give it a space in the memory. So this is how I'm going to write Outlook.application. What is the next thing I want to do? Well, I'm going to declare the Outlook mail item, and then mail item. Actually, this is we use for the emails, right? Now I'm gonna be a little fast here, because that's not really something I'm gonna talk. I have already talked about the Outlooks, the setup in my all those 30 videos. So this is not really, this is more of a this workbook event. So this video is more on this, how to track the things. This is just simply an email we're gonna write, right? That's how we write o.create in the Outlook. You got to create that OL mail item, because you're gonna have the email. Now this is what we write with OMail, and I'm just gonna write here end with. So you're gonna send it to whom? Well, I would like to send it to, let's say, myself, which is, this is my, by the way, the Outlook email ID. I'm just going to send that email. You should write your own email ID here, of course, with the subject whatever you want to write. You can write here, I can write here that log details. Okay, and of course you can write, you can join it with the date as well, so that in the subject the date can also be mentioned, right? It's all up to you. And then what else you want? Or you can also do one thing. You can also write here the sender name with the date. For example, whosoever has opened that file, the name should also be there. So you can write here that with the date, you can write here the sender name as well. And how you're gonna write the sender name? You can write here the sender email address. That's it, guys. Just join them with the AND operator, right? So now let us run this, and let me give a little space here. So I will send this file, but before I send this file, I want to see the attachment as well. So you attach the attachment. Now your attachment actually is this file. So I just click on this, I go to the properties of this, right click and go to the properties. In the security, let me copy the path, and this is what we want to do. Put it within the quote. That's it, and then dot send. Okay, email would go, right? Email would go. So now I'm gonna run this code. Let us see how it is going to look like. So now this time I'm running it manually, obviously you can see here, but when the basically the workbook gets opened, this event will fire, and this will do exactly the same thing which we're gonna do right away. So let me just run this code, and so there we go. We have now log file getting opened. You already have the details, that's fine. If you want to remove that, please ensure that you should use here cells.select, or whatever, I mean from the range A to 2, maybe C1000, or whichever is your last cell, just clear that. But I would like to keep it, because what I want, that day by day I want that the data should be copied here. That's what I want, right? So you're going to run this. Now you have another detail coming here, perfect. And now the active workbook is going to be closed. Now guys, if you want to keep a different file that with a different name, don't use the active workbook.close. Use the active workbook.save as, and give the name of file whatever you want to give, just right there. And so the code would look like this. Let me just help you out. Why don't I just go ahead and write the code. So this is what you're going to write: save as, and then in the save as you write the give the path, right? So if you have a complete path, give that, the path over here. And obviously you would like to save the file with a different name, right? Because log file is already open, so maybe you can give it a name called log1, and or maybe the backup, and make sure that you should join it with some maybe the date. You can do one thing when you want to put this in this path, uh, maybe in the file name here where you're actually writing this in the desktop, you just write here, and you can write here date, and just then you just join it with this log actually xlsx. So what will happen, the date will also be prefixed before the log1 file, right? So whenever a new day come and they open the file, you keep on getting the file name that date, right? But right now I'm not going to do that. I just go ahead and simply close this file. The file is closed, and now we're going to actually run the send email macro. So now I'm on the send email macro, and this is where the macro will run, and it's going to run. Let me show you. And there we go. Attachment is added. The system cannot find the file specified. All right, so we have some problem here. I think the attachment not get added. Let me check that what's wrong with this. Let me run the code here again. I've just actually put in these open parentheses and close parentheses. We see that why it is not working. I have the desktop. This file is created on the desktop, right? So I think this should work actually. Let me see here. I cannot find this file. That's very strange. Why it is not able to find that file? Verify the path and the file name are correct. Okay. So let me do one thing. Let me just right click here, and let me check the path again. That's the path actually. I don't think so there is any type of mistake, but still I just want to copy this and I'm going to put it here. It should actually work. Let me just paste it here, right? So let's just close that and let me run this. So I'm going to run this. Here we go. And I hope that oh yeah, there's no error. The email is done, right? So if the email is done, it should show in my sent. So let us go ahead and open the Outlook now. Okay, and I'm going to open the Outlook file quickly. Let's go to the sent item, and I want to see that if the email is draft, and we have the every detail which is required here. So all right, so I go to my sent, and here we go, guys. You can see here the email is done. You can see that the email is done, and as a subject log details, and the date is there. The sender name is not coming, perhaps because the sender basically why it did not capture the sender name. That's very strange. Email.sender email address. So email.sender address should be there, right? But I think because of the reason that email is not send yet, so that's why I think that's creating the problem. So we can do one thing. Why don't we just go ahead and use that the same function environ, right? In that case it will give me the username as well. As simple as that, right? I can use that, right, in this way. Once I have that, I think now the code should work. So now what we're gonna do is I just save everything. I just close this file. Let me save the file, and let's just close the file. And I'm gonna delete this email also, or maybe keep it like this only. This is my Outlook. You can see here, and I just open this file, right? And this is the log file. This is, you can see here, I have already got the data, which is this. Just go ahead and delete this first of all. So we're going to close this file, and I'm going to open that XML. So suppose I come to my office and I open this file immediately. Let me open the file. So I'm opening the file, and the email should be triggered, and this is going to take a little time, and there we go. Right, so we have the same error again, cannot find this file. This is really making me nuts here. I mean, what's the reason why it is not picking up? I just press F it is working, right? It is working and the email is done. That's very strange. It's very weird. When I press F8, the code actually ran, right? So what is the issue in this? Let me first of all check the sent email as well. Yeah, that's it guys, that's what you wanted actually, the log detail. You can see here, obviously log, actually the email actually, okay, so email also has got this log file attached twice. So what happened, I think when the code ran, it was able to add the file, but it stopped there. And in the file, I pressed F8 and again, the attachment got added. So there is some problem here, right? uh, might be, I think the code needs some time to send this attachment. Now in case, I'm just trying to check here, right? So it's a very good learning for all of us. It's not, we're not going, macro is running so fast that it's not able to get that be the reason. Well, if that is the reason, then I can put the code here, which must be a new thing for you. You can allow the application to wait for some time before it attaches the file. So what we can do is, we can simply write here that from the now time, whatever the time you have, you should add some time here. So you're gonna add here, maybe I'm gonna add here, let's say maybe 3 seconds here. Okay, so that's how. Now what will happen, it should actually wait for some time. Okay, it is going to wait for some time, for 3 seconds actually, and then it is going to send the email, right? So let us go ahead and run the code here again. And by the way, I want to actually create a space here, maybe hyphen here, so that my subject line should look like the date, and then there is a hyphen and then insert. So let me just delete that. Okay, so I'm going to save this file guys, and first of all I want to see that if the code is perfect or not. So let's just run this right away before we close this. Okay, so there's a type mismatch which is coming. We have the now time, and let me see that what's wrong actually here. I wanted to add 3 seconds, so maybe I think I have used the wrong syntax. Let us see that. So have the time, and I just wanted to add 3 seconds here. So I guess you got to use it on the time value function, and you're going to write here the time in the string obviously, and you're going to write here 3 seconds. And let us see, let me run this now. There we go, the code. Now you see that it is waiting for 3 seconds, and after waiting the 3 seconds, email is done. So I just press F8, and there we go. So I don't want to actually edit the video, because this is, such things can come, so you should be ready for that. So there we go. Now you can see here that looks very perfect. So let's do one thing now. Before I close the file, I'm just gonna run this file quickly. I go to the workbook and I'm gonna hit here F5, and let us see if we can run this code. There we go. Right. So the file opened, and now the code ran guys, right? Let me go back to my sent item, and there we go. You see that the image just landed up, and it has the perfect detail, right? So now I think the code is working. So possibly that might be the reason that it's not, when the attachment gets added, so VBA is not able to have so much of the time that it can actually send out the email. So that's why we put in this code. So what will happen, for the 3 seconds the code will stop, and then that will be enough time, I think, for the VBA to send the email. So I just close this test file. Now I'm going to run this file again. Let me open the file. Here we go. Now everything should happen. So you can see here the file opened, and now yes, that's it guys, the email is done, right? So as a user, I'm not even able to see that what is happening, and you can see here that the email is drafted. Perfect guys, this is very nice. So I think it's a very good learning for all of us. I wasn't expecting this actually, application.event, application.wait we will have to use, but might be because when the workbook gets open, the macro runs so fast, that it takes milliseconds. Maybe it's not able to give the time, so you can put the 2 seconds, 3 seconds of time. That's very nice. And now one thing you need to do is definitely just protect the code, so that even if somebody wants to check this code, can't do that. So you go to the tools, and in the VBA project property, and click on the protection, click here, and now you click on the password, any password. So you have to enter the password, confirm password 1, and now whenever whenever you try to access the Visual Basic window again after saving this file, I mean to say, you open the file again, you will not be able to see the code part. unless you know the password, right? If I just go ahead and open the file again, that's what you're gonna see. This. Now for a moment my file also, the screen also blinked, which I can remove. If you remember, if you observed it, file gets open in the background, right? So we're gonna do that. So let's click on the Visual Basic, and that's what, it's gonna ask you the password. So what you can do is, in this workbook event, guys, write here one line, which is application dot screen updating equals to false. This will bring the speed, right, and this will stop flashing any screen, because your workbook gets opened in this code, so that is not going to be going to be shown up. And make sure that before the enter you should write here true, so that next time when you run the different macro, it should be by default option, which is screen update. Generally by default it remains true, so let's ensure that before it goes to the enter, it should actually be on the default mode. Otherwise you will have this screen updating false everywhere. Maybe you don't need that all over whenever you ask to run the code. So now let's go ahead and open the code. It's gonna be running very fast. Now you can see here that the screen is still, there is no that blink coming. Did you see that? There was not even a single blink which came up. So user won't be able to see that there's something happening, right? And you see that the email is also drafted. Now further to this, of course, you can create the rules here. In the Outlook you can create the rules that any subject line which comes with the log details, because that's what you have coded VBA. So you can create the rules here. You can create a rule. You go to this rules and create a rule, and in this rule you can see that when I get the email with all the selected conditions, so you can write here the subject. If the subject contains what, only the log details, right, because username will be different every time, it should actually go to or move the item to the folder which you can write here, right, or whatever folder you want to. You can select the folder from here, and you can say that it should always go to, for example, in my dummy folder. You can press OK. Whenever this will happen, what will happen when email comes to your inbox from that sent item from that user, you will have all the emails coming here in this your dummy folder. Okay? I mean, this is just extra thing I'm telling you. It has nothing to do with the VBA. I mean, that's how you can program things. So I hope you enjoyed this session, and this is a very useful code. It can be used in, you can modify the code, because I don't know the exact requirement. Mehmood asked me this, so I found it very good question, and I thought that it has a lot of scope for learning for all those advanced and intermediate users. So guys, that's it for you now, and I will be back with something another exciting stuff. We'll pick it up from your questions, or from I will, as all the time I remain on the net, so I also like to search something fantastic for you, and we will be talking about it very soon, something else, right? So thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much. Bye bye.